kind of start to get cancelled with the use of like this, not the tight check, but just this turnout. I don't know if you've seen this.
I've seen it, yeah. I've
So
seen
like
it.
you don't really need to lift your legs up. If it's a low kick, you just do this. If it's a high kick, you just take it on your arm.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they kind of, you saw even a Woodley versus a Wonder Boy.
Yeah, 2 or 1? 1? What, the first fight they did? 'Cause they did the
Both
second
of them,
one.
like, both
See
of them.
Wonder Boy turning in.
Yeah, Wonder Boy is like this, and he's just playing
Yeah.
with that distance,
Yeah.
and it allows him to kind of almost telegraph himself in.
Yeah.
So when in boxing, if I'm here, you're safe. But with this side, you're not safe.
Be there very fast.
Yeah, exactly. This makes me able to go in very fast. Where in the boxing, I have to step in. It will be too slow. So that's what they're relying on. Like Michael Page is like all of his life he played with that style. Now he goes into MMA. People feel safe with him. He's back here. All of a sudden he's in. Goonie knocked the guy out with that exact thing. It's a blitz, karate blitz.
Yeah, yeah.
You saw that?
I saw Goonie do it, yeah. And then I spent some time with MVP in the ring, and he was teaching me that.
Yeah.
And he was teaching me that move. Well, first of all, it was this.
Yeah.
And then that whole kind of where you almost fall into the guy.
Yeah. The blitz. That's
the blitz, which was so strange to me. Martial arts typically never teach you being
crossing
that far off balance.
legs, breaking all the rules.
Right, but the MVP is like, well, if I'm gonna hit him, then he'll break my fall, and if not, I'll go past him.
Yeah.
I was thinking so, but I hadn't played with it, and it took me a while to get it. I didn't get it, but even to get used to the, and then the back, and I mean, but it was nice to play with and know.
There are no rules. Nobody has a rule book. It's all guesses. So some people realize it and they're busy doing guessing and trying. And others are traditionalists and like, no, you can't do this, and like I get knocked out by the guest people.
Yeah.
People don't understand. They criticize things they don't understand. And the more rules, the less rules there are, the more it's open for interpretation and experimentation. So MMA have a lot more possibilities for freedom of movement than boxing, by far.
Yeah.
Boxing is pretty specialized. You can still innovate, but it's very, very specialized. That's it. But in MMA, there is so much to play with. That was my interest, like movement-wise. Realizing these things, playing with this, the fighters, they can do it.
Really?
They can't do it. They can. I can do like over 400 consecutive hits. My students, Odelia can do 100 plus, and like, you give it to a fighter. I recently worked with fighters, UFC fighters. They cannot do 5, 10. Try to do 10.
Well, yeah, back and forth, or even just one.
Just do whatever you want.
What is this teaching me?
Rhythmicality, distance management.
Yeah.
Train the eye because it's a small object that moves around. Power management.
Yeah, power management. Yeah.
Like knowing how to place. Teaches you a lot about the fist in different areas of it, because if you're gonna hit it here, it's gonna go there.
Yeah.
It's so many things. Accuracy.
Accuracy.
Yeah, hitting someone in the head, people think it's easy, like what Conor does. It just spins that, That's it. That's try to touch my hand. Try to do that. It's so difficult. Somebody's it's so difficult to create that effect. So like here you start to get some knowledge of it.
Yeah, touching something exactly where you want it.
And it's so quick.
Yeah.
It's so irregular. It goes, but it constantly hits in different positions and different angles. So I have to move myself in relation to that, expect, predict, place myself well, move again. It's irregular. That double end bag thing is more regular.
Yeah, that thing that just pops.
This simpler, more superior. It's like the gymnastics rings with the TRX. It's simpler and it's superior. This is it's less predictable, and it's not staying on a line.
Yeah.
It will move. It's similar to a fight, and it's an old Russian boxing practice. Yeah.
So all the traditional boxing exercises, it's all hanging from one point. Heavy bag, every now, even there's the two elastic band, double end bag, yeah. Not many degrees of freedom there.
Yeah, it's specific tools for specific things, but they're not enough. And eventually, really, you cannot develop a boxer around those things. You can only develop a boxer around one practice, sparring. That's the only practice that is enough to develop a boxer around or a fighter around. And then all these specialized tools, they're not so robust. So they add another small angle. One of them teaches you more power and delivery and connectivity. Another one is teaching you rhythmicality. And another one is teaching you angles. And they all kind of contribute small bits. And people like to, of course, point at the stuff that it doesn't do for them. But what about the stuff that it can do for you, you know? And then you have to make the work to connect the dots, to apply into something bigger. And movement is taking it to a different level, where I have to attack so many different small games and tasks and drills in hopes of you eventually connecting it and taking that knowledge into a new scenario. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it will happen. The nice thing is, even if it doesn't happen, you're already doing what you want to do. You're already there.
Which is movement and new practices and advancing the brain and...
Yeah. Even if it's a dead-end street, this game, it's already a beautiful way to pass an afternoon. And it's just it makes sure you are feeding yourself, not food, but movement tasks that are essential for us. Like your eyes, like we said, rhythmicality, playfulness.
Yeah.
Like I used to do this as a boy, you know, like throwing the tennis ball in my room.
Yeah.
You know, that teenager thing, you know, you lay in your bed and tap, tap.
Yeah.
And back then you're closer to the source.
Exactly. We used to make up games with a ball when I was a kid, and I stopped doing it. We used to have something called butt ball, where we would bounce it against the garage door, and we'd make these rules up, and you'd have to run to the line, you'd have to throw it at someone and try to hit their button, because we were looking for something to engage our brain.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's not respected. The adults look at it and it's like, he's just playing, he's just being a kid. No. Yeah, he's being human, more human than you.
Right.
You're in the business world, you're some banker, wanker, or whatnot, you know, like, and you're trying to mimic that in that world, in these skyscrapers. You're trying to mimic that playfulness, risk management, contact, everything, gambling is the same, is all these problems.
Trying to replace another.
Trying to replace.
Yeah.
Homo ludens,
What's that?
the playful man. Homo ludens. It's an old book about play and culture. And play is almost on the level of culture. It's not a tool of culture. It's almost together interlaced into one entity.
Okay. Play.
Play. We are the playing man. Homo ludens. We are that play man. We must play. There is no choice here.
Okay.
We must play. It's our way of being. It's our way of developing, surviving, everything. Animals play, and they precede mankind. So play is bigger than humanity. It's more primal because animals before us played already. It's the way of nature making sure you do your stuff. And they play into old age. It's not like you become old, you stop playing. You grew old because you stopped playing.
And yet we consider play juvenile.
Juvenile.
Right? And then we replace it with other things, gambling, vices, or whatever.
Yeah.
Some other practice. So.
And dress up in suits, take ourselves way too seriously, pollute the planet, you know, indulging in all kinds of like unnecessary things, and really truly we're empty. I've seen it, like just sitting with our iPhones in the end of the day, you know, in some room, and it's not life, and we're feeling it, like.
Yeah.
So like doing this, it was considered the weirdo. Now it's a whole culture doing it, and I'm so happy to see here people coming in playing with a ball, you know, on the wall. It's like, why? Because now I use it against them. It's cool.
Yeah.
Now it's a fashionable way of training, of being, of moving.
Yeah.
You've done the same with London Reel. All of a sudden it's like, to record some conversations and publish them by yourself. It's cool. It's opportunity. So we took the system to break the system, kind of using what's there.
Yeah. Give people what they really want, which was told to them that they shouldn't be doing these things, which is play and real conversations.
I'm not a serious trainer. You're not a serious journalist. Journalists would make fun of you, and trainers and PhD physiology experts make fun of me. But I just had to suppress them in all these parameters to show, and now they're coming in to learn. I work with the Olympic Committee. I work with all kinds of bodies. So it's interesting to see it turn around. But I used to be like a laughing stock, but eventually, they join you.
Because enough people follow you, then they notice.
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
just
what it is?
it's too powerful. You can't ignore it anymore, and it produces results. They have to respect it eventually. The big specialists in their field, they are more open-minded. They look for ways, and if it works, it works. They don't wait for the research. Don't care. There is no time. Now is my career. In 2 years, it's over. So if I need someone's help and it's Ido, I'll take him. Whatever, and they'll go to anyone.
Yeah. Nassim Taleb says, science follows technology, not technology follows science. So he said the academics, they say, oh, no, that works because of this. And then he's like, no. Technology makes the advancements, and then we reverse justify it as it's this.
Yeah,
that's you. You're technology, really.
Yeah, it's the experience. People's intuition, experience, it's what leads technology, and technology feeds science in many ways. And then they justify, they reverse engineer, and they understand the reasoning. But it's too complex for us. We can't control the information and make these conclusions. Planning doesn't work. So what's happening? They are reacting, creating some technology with some intuition, innovation, creativity, and then science reflects back upon that, Yeah. It's like some kid playing with this because he's a boxer and he's home, sick, and he didn't go to train. And now he's home alone and he's thinking, what can I still do that doesn't raise my heartbeat so high? And he starts to play with this. And all of a sudden, he goes back to the gym and shows it to one of his friends, and the boxing coach sees it. And eventually, in the beginning, he says, that's shit, doesn't work, don't waste your time. After 2 years, he's teaching it to his students. And that's how it starts. It's not some boxing coach who thought, what's a good method to do this?
It's almost the innovator's dilemma, as in the established community can't innovate, because when they innovate, they bring their own entity down. You need like the new person to come in and say, I'm going to do this because I don't have a reputation, I don't have a history of a sport riding on me, and they bring something in, and it's more advanced than kind of the establishment. We see it all the time in new companies and it's new practices too. It's good. I'm gonna play with this.
Yeah.
This is like a big playground. I don't know if you saw me earlier. I was just hanging from the bars.
That's what it is. That's what it is. It is a playground for adults.
Yeah.
You pay a lot of money. You have to come in and drive and park the car, but it's the same. It's the same. It's a playground. And we need that. We need those spaces to be around, to come every day and spend time. It's like you have a family, you have your work, but you also need kind of a movement community to practice in and to exchange with. There is no bigger reason for a community to gather around
than movement.
Movement. It was always for survival, and now it's for thriving. For surviving, not losing your mind. In this Babylon. It's like these spaces. It's like islands. People come, they play like kids.
Yeah, is that why you put it right in the center?
Well, it was just
a little oasis in Babylon. Or?
Yeah, it's. I wish it was again, but I didn't plan anything. It was just grew because of the local work of the people and the big work that we're doing around the world, and just that attention demanded a proper place, placed properly, and we've outgrown this space a long time ago. It's owned by Roy. It's not owned by me. He operates it here, but. We've outgrown this space. It's like, but it's the actual work.
Yeah.
It does the talking there.
Right. Don't get too fixated on the place.
Yeah.
It's the work.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm gonna play with this a bit more.
Yeah. Try to do it just singles.
Singles, yeah.
Singles, 10 on each arm.
Try with my right first. All right. And control, right? All right. And feet that.
You can Yeah, you can lead. Yeah, just do one at a time. One catch. Beautiful. Try the right leg in front as well. Exactly. Beautiful. Gets better. Nice. 9. One more. Okay, left.
Left. Okay. And alternate
And
legs,
left,
right?
yeah.
That's it.
Easy, very soft. Coming
I was
closer.
told I'm right-handed, so that messes with my mind. Who says I'm right-handed? Okay.
They can actually tell you through an MRI.
Oh yeah? Really? Just they can see the activity?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I was thinking, what a great place to come. What a great place to bring my son. He's flying all around and he wants to climb on things. I have to put a gate across the stairs at home so he only goes in these places. I need a playroom. I need for everybody.
us.
For us.
For everybody.
For him, for us.
One of my students now built a house in Australia and just rethought the whole thing, the whole plan with the architect, and just developed this not room areas, a few areas in the house which are play oriented, movement oriented. Because if you have these things hanging, you better believe if it's accessible, if it's there, that you will use them. You know, it's even רועי, בוא רגע תיתן פה קפיצה למות. You see this bar?
Yeah.
Just having this bar up there
Makes people want
is
it.
enough reason.
Where's the leather?
It's enough reason. You know, like the bar is up there. It doesn't make sense. Look at it. Look at the height of that.
I fucked this up.
Doesn't make sense, right?
No.
But it was there and it's long enough time. Get it. Gotta get it. Put some chocolate on it.
Oh.
Fast. That's
That's more than 10 feet.
it was just it's here and long enough time. That's enough.
The monkeys will play.
Exactly. You see this bar, there is a few kids here swinging from this bar to that bar. Can you believe it?
This one to that
This
one.
one to that one.
Wow.
Like, can you believe it? And look, if it was higher, it made more sense. The major problem is it's not high enough off the floor. So like the swing is limited. I'll show you a video, like they're doing it.
Right.
It's just enough to place it there. You place the cage in front of your son, that gate. If you give enough time, he'll find a way. Maybe he will need to grow 2 more years, but eventually, if you keep that thing closed there, he would find a way.
Right. The brain will say, how can I do that? How can I do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I sat on the floor with a friend, and his baby was crawling, and my mother or my father or someone told me like, "Hey, move your legs, let him pass." I said, "No, that's what he needs," and he started to crawl on top of my leg. That's development. That's movement training.
Right.
But what we do, facilitate. So like, you don't get the kid that you want to get. There has to be this stimulus, and we almost get orgasms from it. Like we need that. We stimulate areas in the brain. Certain risks, certain are also necessary. The Australians, I've heard that they are making the playgrounds not safe again.
Okay.
They realized we went too far. We made a mistake. It's too safe. We're making them not safe.
So there's no creativity when it's too safe? Or
They're not creativity and there is no protection.
Okay.
Now it's too safe. I don't need to protect myself. You understand? Like how can you develop that knowledge? We played in the trees. We fell from the trees. We were strangling each other in school break.
Yeah.
We were not stabbing each other with knives. But sometimes someone broke an arm. But we grew more robust, safer. So now it's not safe. everyone with helmets on the bike, and they don't have a sense of safety.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think like having this installed, having it there, is the beginning of the process. And people complain like, I need to start, and if I'll get serious with it, I'll build this area for myself to train. But actually, it works reverse. You have to first promote. You won't be doing hanging if this is not there. You need an anchor point. You need stimulate. You need balls lying around in the house,
So
different
you play with
sizes, different materials, and you'll find yourself all of a sudden, just playfully playing. And this is great for children. This is an amazing practice. Just doing it, just having the rhythmicality, the sense. Yeah, and you already slow down. So like this makes you quicker. This makes sure the brain is sharp, rhythmical, timing it well. It's so easy, so simple,
Yeah.
but we don't do it, We don't do it unless we grow in specific
And
basketball.
the alternative is the iPhone, staring at the iPhone,
Yeah.
calcifying the brain.
Yeah, it's so accessible, it's so easy, it's so addictive. They make sure of it. They're selling you these games. This is how. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's simply the nature of the work that they're doing.
Yeah. Have you read the book? It's called Hooked by Nir Ayal, and he talks about the exact strategy they use, the apps use to hook your brain. Variable reward. I don't know if I'm going to get something good or bad. It's like email, so I want to open it. It gives me a reason to come back next time. Like all these little things that trick the brain, just like any other kind of dopamine hit that you get. And now they engineer that in to where you become addicted. They've got it down to a science. And unless you consciously say, no, I'm not going to play that game, I'm turning my push notifications off, I'm turning that off, then you might as well be an opiate addict. It's the same thing, I think.
I see that.
This is good. I like this place.
You know what's the most expensive and precious commodity here? Floor space. Another common mistake in movement facilities. They occupy the space with toys. It's this.
Give them space to move.
Yeah, it's simple space, wall, empty walls, floor, tools that are very simple and modular.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't get too fancy.
No, it's not promoting high-tech bodies. It's promoting high-tech technology. It's like boxes made of wood, ropes, simple mats, a rope, rings, anchor points, empty wall, empty floor. Now you have to make the real magic inside of you.
Yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
This is cheap, easy, accessible. We don't promote and we don't support any big industries around it making money from intent that are far from pure. But we sell education, and we don't apologize for that. It's one thing that we need. It all starts from education.
I'm understanding more. And what does this mean?
I actually didn't want it on the wall, but they eventually put it on. It's something I said one day, and it just became like this phrase, right? Let them dirty the wall, motherfuckers. Yeah, just talking to parents. Like, don't dirty the wall, don't do handstand on the wall. It's like, who cares about the fucking wall? It's your child. Let him dirty the wall. Let them dirty the wall. And it's like, it's not important. Look at those walls. Look at the marks. Look at it. It's ugly. It might not look the best in the cameras. It might not present the image that, some fancy training system does. It's like, this is a place of work. This is where people train, and these marks, they are marks of hard work. And we don't care about the walls. We care about people's bodies, and we sacrifice the walls for it. It sounds ridiculous, right? Like, who cares? You can paint the wall, but people still have that state of mind. They build houses made of glass that they cannot move in. And now they're protecting this house, eventually dying with an incapable body because they were just orienting their whole life towards the wrong thing, this materialistic thing, instead of like saying, this is all here to serve us. These shoes are here to allow me to move. It's like, I don't want to serve the shoes. These walls are just here for me, to protect us. I don't care, I'm not going to start to protect the wall. Let them dirty the walls. It's not important. Same with shirts and clothes. You know how parents are like, oh, don't dirty your clothes. No, let him go into the mud. Let them dirty the clothes. It's there to serve them. And that's what it does. It serves them. It's just, we went too far.
It's easy to go too far, isn't it? I'm just thinking about it. It's easy not to realize when you've gone too far. Because each step builds on the previous step, and it's not that much different. It's not that much different. And then when you look back in the rearview mirror, you say, well, what have we done? What are we doing? I'm not teaching my children not to move so they don't dirty a wall so it's clean for when the neighbor comes over.
Yeah, it's a time where you have to constantly ask yourself, where do I want to go? Every day, every moment, because it's so confusing, because the walls out there are screaming commercials and orientation that is not where I want to go. And it's easy to raise children in a way that you don't believe in and believe that you're doing the best job. So you have to educate yourself. You have to really go into it and ask yourself, and that's a major reason why many parents come to our events, because for themselves they didn't do it, but now that they realize they have this precious thing, they realize that the physical part they have to learn more about how to pass on some physical knowledge, some movement knowledge to their children. And there is a window of opportunity where you can really do that with you can really give some serious gifts for a lifetime. And then afterwards, it's still possible, but it's much harder.
What's that window? And how young are the children you work with?
Well, so some of my students work with younger populations. The whole community is very young, so all these more special crowds, older people with disabilities, young children, they're not yet addressed as good as they need to. I've had a few kind of contacts from schooling systems around the world where I was really interested in revolutionizing that. But it wasn't serious enough, and it ended up not happening, but I'm sure it will happen in the future. Until the age of 12, you have that kind of like a lot of neuroplasticity. You can affect a lot and use one effect to create a whole cascade of events inside the system. So actually, like just by playing this game before the age of 12, you would receive gifts beyond this game. But now, in your 40s, you play this game, most of what you get is the game. And a little bit of it would be a more general capacity. A kid is opposite. Most of what you will get would be a general capacity. So the brain is so fresh, so that gift is so in depth, and now you're more static, you're more fixed. Yeah. So later on, still, again, I don't want that state of mind to block people. Like, you can do it one day before you die. You can still make new neural connections. You can grow new cells. You do it one day before you die, and you should always do it.
Right.
But it's just, you can give a lifetime of gifts to a child in the right moment. It's like I've heard of this African trick. You know how some people can sleep no matter the environment, and other people are so picky, and some people are just great sleepers. It's like, so there is this African trick where families use that, kind of modern families, but coming out of Africa. They put the radio on all the time in the child's room from a young age. He always is around sound and noises, and he learns to fall asleep with it, and it's there throughout the night, all the time.
Right.
And it's just a gift. You do it in the young age. Maybe in the beginning there is a little bit of, after very quickly there will be an adaptation, and then you would fall asleep in a burning airplane on the way down. You know, like it's just something that will give you for a whole lifetime. I've suffered tremendously because I'm not such a great sleeper.
Yeah, me neither. That might have helped.
Yeah. And it's something that, again, starts with education. Like, who knows? Maybe someone let you dribble a ball in the right age, and it just affects you. It does something in the sense of rhythm, in the way that you perceive the coordination, in the way that you meet that ball, and it gives you a gift that will affect your whole life. Some people have that sense of rhythm, right? Other people, they don't have a feeling for it. I've seen it a lot with the fighters. They don't appreciate it, but it dictates a lot.
Everything. Yeah.
It dictates so much, but who really teaches rhythm in fighting? I haven't met
I
anyone.
think Apollo Creed in Rocky 3.
They talk
he was
about
doing the bouncing,
Yeah,
right?
they talk about it, but it's too specialized too. They have an appreciation for it. They would talk about it.
Yeah.
Boxers would talk about it. Fighters would talk about it. But actually, are they teaching rhythm? Not as efficiently and with quality tools as they do in percussion. So, I took these two worlds, put them together. I don't think we're actually doing it. We have some appreciation, like boxers always advise go dancing to learn footwork. Well, you learn very isolated footwork in dancing. The truth is, it wouldn't translate so well to boxing. So, can we really do it? Yeah, we can. There are tools to do it. It's just not inside that specific discipline.
Right. So salsa is not the cure, but there's some type of pacing.
Yeah, you have to take the content in that and understand what is making the magic happen. And we'll play with some of those drills in the days and play with it. Yeah, but it's so simple. It doesn't even look fancy. You know? Simple things. And sometimes the state of mind that you have to take in order to train them is very different than what people are used to. Like do 10 sets of this and that. But maybe you need to now sit down here and dribble the ball for 5 minutes straight on each arm. And after you do it for a few weeks, you'll start to have this sensation inside of you. And all of a sudden you can translate it into movement, into fact. It's not well understood, it's not well done.
Okay.
We can do a better job. And this is just one small subject. There are infinite amount of subjects like this.
And you're experimenting with things like this,
Yes,
with fighters
yes,
and things like that.
yes, yeah, 100%.
I've heard you say, be the DJ, and control the rhythm. Whoever controls the rhythm controls the fight. Right? I've heard you say that.
Yes. Yeah, it's a big thing in an exchange, which is a rhythmical exchange, like a conversation.
And you can get lulled into another fighter's rhythm.
Exactly,
Easily.
because you don't understand what is happening.
Yeah.
He's halving your beat, and you don't understand that he's halving your beat. He's breaking your tempo. He's offbeating you, and you don't understand what is done because you don't have a musical ear. You're a fighter.
Yeah.
But then comes some Conor McGregor and just capitalizes upon it because he's hitting you on the half beats, and yeah, it's just like it's phenomenon. It's like wow. But what is it? I ask myself, what is it? And how can we learn from it? And that's so important, right? And then how can we enhance that? So we go into Conor and I try to help him to isolate some of these concepts and make it better. Of course, the critics don't understand. It's like, no, this will not help you become a better fighter. No, maybe not. Maybe it will fill some small gap that will affect something else that will affect eventually fighting. We're not attempting to do an immediate translation. We did this drill, now he's a better fighter. It's a long-term investment of researching the human behind the mover, behind the fighter. And through attacking these layers, going there. Just like a sports psychology was not, is not respected by many, but oftentimes it's the limiting factor. It deals with the human layer, but the human is the fighter. So the fighters, they don't have an appreciation for the mover that the fighters are, and the human behind that. So they just employ fighters' tools. But who is driving the boat? And if you're broken mentally, emotionally, psychologically, how can you do your job? Ronda Rousey. How can you do your job? There is an issue. If you have a problem in coordination, in specific coordination, in perception of time, how can you do your job? It depends on these basic traits. So the big specialists don't understand. They are looking at life through a straw. That's what they do. It's very small. It's like, this helps, this doesn't help. That's why the field is not a well understood movement. They think it's handstands and crawling on the floor. It's not what I do with fighters, but it's what the media is working with, and it works in the media's eye. So it became that kind of center focus.
Yeah, and probably the bigger the star that you work with, the bigger the tale that is told about you, right?
Yeah.
More eyes on it, and people just don't understand it, and then they twist it and morph it, and all of a sudden it's something else.
Yeah.
All part of the fun, right?
Yeah.
As you said to me, if you can't stand the heat, stay out of the kitchen,
Yeah,
right?
out of the
Yeah.
Yeah, I said it to myself at a certain point, because I realized, like, oh shit, what did I get into? And then I reminded myself, like, okay, do you want to do it or don't you want to do it? Can you stand the heat or not? Take the criticism, work with hatred, with the haters, like, that's the next level. Okay, what it does to the ego, how you operate with that, how it affects you, who do you take criticism from? All this.
Yeah, and that's tricky because it's coming from everywhere at that point.
It's coming from everywhere, and you should really not take criticism from general public, from comments, from talkbacks, from critics that never met you, don't know nothing about you. They're not providing criticism from an expert point of view. They have other interests. Their egos are screaming, their own jealousy, their own insecurities, or their just lack of understanding in the subject matter. But if you never met me, you never took a class with me, how do you want to criticize what I'm doing? What do you want to talk about movement? It took me 20 plus years to begin to understand that I don't understand. So what do you understand? You didn't spend a moment trying to understand. You watched some clips, you watched an interview. What did you do? You saw a handstand or a crawl, and then a moment after a play with a ball, and a dance routine, and then a fight exercise and a game. What do you know about it? You don't know nothing about it. You cannot do it as well. So all these hints, don't take the criticism, but don't avoid criticism altogether. Have the people in your life providing you that feedback for growth, for self-development.
What's the biggest thing you learned about yourself with all of that focus and criticism, and because you're on a different level now and working with people like Connor?
Yeah, I learned that I'm not about being loved by everyone, which I once believed. It's like, I'm a good force. I want to do good. I'm a hard worker. I built myself really with those skill sets. I worked so hard at it. So like, why shouldn't it be accepted well by everyone?
Everyone, right?
And I learned that no, that's not what I'm about, and I won't be accepted by everyone, and maybe not even by the majority. And now I'm touching big publics that are very ignorant in many of the subjects that I devoted my life to, and are also operating with a very kind of crude. Some of it is machoism. Some of it is like, it's just state of mind that is not really productive for growth, for themselves, for others, and spitting hatred everywhere. And I learned to be more robust and to deal with that as well as things became big, and just base myself in what I really want to do and what's important for me. And that's not being loved. That's not the deal. It's not what I'm about. And so that's fine. But it can be confusing, yeah, because your mother tells you like, who wouldn't love, you know, it's like like in Seinfeld, who wouldn't love Jerry, you know? It's like everyone should love you. I know.
So if you aren't doing it for some kind of love, then so what did you conclude you're doing it for then?
I'm doing it for my own self-discovery. It's being interested. It's discovering. It's growing, and it's passing time in that way. Because all we can do is just pass time. That's all we're doing, right? Like people ask me, why are you doing it? It's a way to pass time. It's a good answer. I once heard it from a martial arts teacher. He devoted his life for it, and they asked him, why do you do it? He said, I think it's a good way to pass time. It was so honest. It's a good way to pass time. And then to be interested, to discover, to work with fears. All this is super important in my daily life, and I want to spend time like that. I don't want to devote myself to being loved, nor do I think it is possible. You will never be accepted by everyone. There is too much. There is too many conflicting, too many ways to live, too many points of view. So just be yourself.
Yeah, and it's ultimately a kind of a hollow pursuit, anyways.
It's a hollow pursuit.
Looking outwards for validating yourself, and yeah.
And you're not yourself now. So now you're the outwards, basically. You're becoming that outwards. Yeah, I love to pass time like that. And the next level for me was to do it with the same passion and pursuit and drive, but with complete detachment as well. So the first I used to do it and I just loved the time. I was obsessed with it, but I was attached to the result so much. And now, after a moment, some years of like digging into that emptiness in the background of everything, of this reality, of the meaningless of everything, of any success, of any goal, then it's the real thing there was detaching yourself also from the result. But it's no less reason to continue to do that. One of the people that really helped me through that time is one of my teachers, Dudi Malka, who is working with an internal perspective. He's a yogi and just a human being that is unique and a thinker, and still a very close friend who gave me a lot of tools there to understand what is happening inside of me, this awakening inside to the void.
And are there some next levels probably to pursue inside the self? So first it was detaching the result and goal. Do you think there's some other levels to this video game?
I'm sure there are. It's always a next level, right? I'm kind of. I think we know everything there we need to know in a way, and we always knew it. We want to move the curtain and look who's behind, but there is nothing behind the curtain. There is no curtain. We know it. There is something inside of us that knows it. We are that already. We are the creators. We are that force. There is something in our lives as children. We realize it. We know it. Animals, they feel it. But then we develop this cognitive process and we construct the ego and all these systems and our character, and that doesn't know. And that cannot, but there is still a background of this observing thing, this observer inside of us. So I think like there is all these levels, they come from the play in between these layers. But eventually it's all the same realization that keeps repeating.
There's nothing behind the curtain. There is no curtain.
There is no one
We
there.
are going back to the grave, and we're passing time in the meantime.
Yeah, it is. It's an awareness, and it's there. Because the only choice is, it can be there or it cannot be there. So this is a reality where it's there. That's it. There is only two choices. So in this reality, it's there. Maybe in another reality, it's not there. That's it. That's why everything is there. And it couldn't unfold any other way in these circumstances. That's why it is like this. and that's it. We are observing ourselves. We are looking at things, we are sensing, and that's why also the work with the body is like, okay, I'm given this body, that's enough reason for me to respect that tremendously. I'm not going to degrade this body, I'm not going to destroy this body. Maybe it doesn't matter in terms of this awareness, it's there, or if the body gets destroyed or not, it's the same. But because I was given this, it's enough reason for me to go full on with it, to learn about it, to operate it, and to work with it, and to explore it, and to understand it. You know, and when you're being taken, these things, you immediately know it. Oh shit, I want to go back. Well, you don't necessarily need that, but it's hard work to remind yourself that and to continue to explore that. But if I take your leg, you immediately know I need my leg back. Like the body, that the body is us, like, and we kind of know it, but we also fall into all these Descartesian traps, living up here, and by the time we are realizing it, it's too late, and we lived in a suboptimal way. And maybe that doesn't matter, like I said. Maybe ultimately, again, the same end result is the same end result, but somehow, again, like I said, it makes sense right now to go full on with what I receive. So I have this breath, so I use it to communicate with the most passion the idea to you, not just wasting it away. I have this leg, okay, what can I do with this leg? I have this spine, what can I do with it? I have this brain, what can I do with it? And it's a good reason to go for it, and it fulfills you back because of that. I think it gives you so much because of that. It's a hint, it's the right thing.
Purely because you can.
Because
That's
you can.
enough of a reason.
Yeah. It's there. Respect that. Why do you think it's there? It's the only way it can be. Here. In another reality, maybe it's different. But here, this is who you are, that's what you got, that's where we got. So make use of it. Get busy living, get busy dying.